Buenos días, o buenas tardes, o buenas noches, depending on when you're watching this video. Hola, alumnos. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre la familia. If you have your book with you, you can open it up to capítulo 2, and this is where we will begin. All right, here we go with the family. All right, the first member or the first miembro de la familia that we are going to talk about is la madre. Or if you want to use it in a more local term, a term that people use on the streets a lot, you will say mamá. Okay? The mother or mother. El padre o papá is dad or father. Los padres significa the parents, or you could say papás. Okay, we have el hijo, which means the son, and la hija, which means the daughter or daughter. Okay, so they look similar. The only thing that changes is the ending, which is an O for a boy and an A for a girl. So son and daughter. El hijo and la hija. Remember, we have the silent H's. So all you're pronouncing is the I, the J, and the A. You're not pronouncing it like you would with a regular English H. So it's hija or hijo. Okay, el hermano, brother, or la hermana, sister. Okay, with this one as well, you're just changing the ending from an O to an A. So it makes it super easy. El hermano y la hermana. Brother and sister. Okay? To refer to a whole family, all you're going to do is put los in front of the family, okay? So I put the little note over here. When you want to refer to a whole family, you do not add the S to the family name like you would do in English. Like I used to belong to the Smith family, and if you make that plural, you would just say, we're going over to the Smith's house and add an S. We don't do that in Espanol. Instead, you add los before the name of the family that you're referring to, okay? So aquí es mi familia, here's my family. We are the Smiths. That's what I was before I got married. Entonces, we say los Smith. Okay, so just think about your last name. So let's just say LeBlanc. If you would say instead of LeBlancs, you would say los LeBlanc. Okay, etc. Okay, the next word I want to cover is los parientes. And if you look at it, it kind of looks like it would be a cognate in that it would mean parents. However, oye, los parientes is a false cognate. It looks like parent or parents, but it actually means relatives. We call this false cognate un amigo falso. Okay, a false friend. That's what we call a false cognate. Something that looks like it's going to be a cognate, but in reality, it's not. So it is kind of a trickster, kind of tricks you a little bit. That's what we call un amigo falso. So los parientes means relatives. Cuidado con eso. All right, next we have la abuela, grandmother, and el abuelo, grandfather. And you'll hear a lot of Hispanic people, when they refer to their grandparents, they will add a little term of endearment, and I'll write this down in class on the chalkboard, but they will actually add a little term of endearment. Instead of saying abuela, they will say abuelita, okay, adding a little ita to the end of this word, and we'll discuss this in class. So sometimes you'll hear people say, instead of mi abuela, my grandmother, you'll hear them say mi abuelita. El nieto significa grandson, y la nieta significa granddaughter. Okay, if you're familiar with Spider-Man, then you'll know that this is Uncle Ben and Aunt May. El tío significa uncle, And, ooh, I made a mistake, and I just am now noticing it. This is supposed to be, instead of el, what article do you think is supposed to go right here? La. Muy bien. La tía. The aunt. So this needs to be changed to la. Hope you don't get that confused because this should be a feminine article to agree with this feminine noun. So el tío significa the uncle and la tía significa the aunt. Okay, sobrina significa niece and sobrino significa nephew. Okay, tenemos los primos. We have the cousins here. Los primos. If you're referring to a boy cousin, you're going to say el primo. And if you're referring to a girl cousin, you will say la prima. Okay. Aquí tenemos una foto de mi matrimonio, a photo from my wedding, de mi boda. Here we have el esposo, which means the spouse or the husband. You could also say el marido. You'll hear this used more in Spain. El marido. And then if you want to say wife, you can either say la esposa or you can say la mujer. Okay? This is how you say spouse and husband or spouse and wife. And I hope you enjoyed that little photo from before our wedding. Antes de la boda. Good times. Okay. The in-laws. Dun, dun, dun. When we are talking about the mother-in-law, we say la suegra. Father-in-law, we say el suegro. And then down here at the bottom, la cuñada significa sister-in-law, and el cuñado significa brother-in-law. I know that you guys probably won't use these as much, just as far as your age goes, because you're all in high school and none of you are married. At least I hope. But in the future, you will definitely use these if you get married. Okay, moving on to the steps. All right, so to express relationships such as stepfather, stepmother, brother, sister, etc., you can use the suffix astro or astra. Okay, so here's an example. If we look at the first one, you will see padrastro significa stepdad. Okay, it looks very similar at the beginning to padre. See the PAD? Very similar to how padre starts. Okay, you are going to take the root of the word and just change it to astro. Same thing here. This looks like we're going to say madre, but instead of saying madre, we add astra, and it becomes stepmom instead of just mom. And you'll see the similarities between hermano and hermanestro, and hermana and hermanestra. Okay? So you're basically just taking the root of the word and adding astro or astra instead of what it originally was to make it a step. Mother, dad, brother, sister, etc. Okay, and then lastly, we have unas pequeñas descripciones de la familia. If you want to describe members of your family, here are some ejemplos, so you can do that. If you have someone, un miembro de la familia que tiene green eyes, you can say that they have los ojos verdes, green eyes. If you have blue eyes, like myself, you can say los ojos azules. And if you have brown eyes, you can say los ojos castaños. Okay, so those are descriptions you can use for la familia. Además, we have hair color. So if you have blonde hair, you have el pelo rubia, which literally translates as the hair blonde. If you have red hair, you have el pelo rojo, which literally translates the hair red. And then so on, el pelo castaño and el pelo negro. And just a little repasito. Just pause the video and try and see if you can remember what each of these mean. Just test yourself a little bit. You might find out that you know more than you think. All right, esto es todo. That is all. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video and learning some more vocabulario so you can discuss la familia. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. I will see you in class. Ciao.